Once again, thank you so much for coming. And you still have a few minutes to ping someone else in the room. If you know that there is someone who should be here, please do not hesitate to ask them to come in, because tonight we will be closing a session we started last week. And to every matter, there should be a conclusion. And we are here tonight to hear the conclusion of this matter. Empowering your life through self-talk. And oh, what a session we have had last week. And we just want to make sure that we come back tonight because there is more for us to hear. And so I am going to bring my guest. We are going to get the program on the road as quickly as possible, because I believe that tonight we are in for another treat where we will have to pack everything into this last session. And I want to ensure that we leave enough time for our audience to ask all the questions that they had, even from last week. We will make sure that we take all of those. So ladies and gentlemen, we are going to bring our guest for tonight's program to the spotlight. Let me look across if I see Dr. Ian Levine so that I can bring him to the spotlight. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Ian. Thank you so much for being here again. Ladies and gentlemen, we started this last week and we are here one more time to make sure that we conclude this matter, one that we are all ready and willing to hear. And so I just want to reintroduce our guests for those who were not here last week. I just want to make sure that you know who we're talking with tonight, that he has the knowledge, the expertise, the experience. He has I don't want to call it accolades, but he has all of that behind his name that gives him that ability to speak on the topic that he's going to be speaking on tonight. And so our guest for tonight's program is Dr. Ian Levine. Dr. Levine joins us from the beautiful island of Cayman Islands. And he is a behavioral consultant. He's also a critical incident stress debriefer. He is also a neuroscience coach and leadership trainer. He's certified in so many different areas. He's certified, as I said before, in critical incident stress debriefer. He's certified Christian clinical counselor. He's a certified self-talk trainer. He's certified as a life and business coach. He's certified in conflict management. He's certified as a behavioral consultant and also as a licensed chaplain. And he has studied in this field for over 20 years in the different field, personal growth and others. And he has been trained by some of the world's most respected authorities in this industry. And so Dr. Ian understands the missing links of personal and professional development, of neuroscience, of mental agility, all of these things he is versed in. And so tonight we are ready once again to hear from Dr. Ian Levine on the topic, empowering your life through self-talk. Welcome again, Dr. Ian, to the program.
Thank you very much. And I just want to let everyone know that they're probably saying, you know, what you said about me, is it really true? But yes, for over 20 years, I've studied many things. And it's so ironic that just today my wife said to me, you know what, Ian, you need to put a stop now to this studying. But I can't put a stop to studying. Why? Because we have to be well informed so that we can help humanity to be empowered. But Dr. Janice, I am so happy to be here with you today, and I know today is going to be amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much again. And I'm glad you say that, because I continue to repeat this verse, Dr. Ian, that our people perish not because of lack of abilities, because of where they came from, because of their family background. No, it's because of lack of knowledge. And when we gain the knowledge, we're able to better advance ourselves in life. And so, Dr. Ian, I want to ask you this question, because I know that words are powerful. You know, although many may think otherwise, and I am one of those who not just think. I know that words are powerful. And we really can't deny that words make us and they break us. Negative words hurt us, and positive words help to uplift our lives. One of the major verses in the Bible, Proverbs 18 and verse 21, says, life and death is in the power of the tongue, and those who love it eat from its fruits. And that's indeed a powerful verse. So for those who did not hear what self-talk really means, I just wanted to recap what's the meaning of self-talk? What does self-talk really entails? And how important is self-talk to our well-being and to our lives?
Awesome. Awesome. Every waking moment, every conscious moment, from the time we are up until the time we go to bed, we are consciously and subconsciously involved in self-talk. The programs going through our minds and what we say when we talk to ourselves. So what is self-talk? Self-talk is simply what you say when you talk to yourself. What you say with your thoughts, what you say with your words. Every single day, messages are going on in your brain, messages are going on in your mind. How do you look? How do you sound? How do you feel? Those inner dialogues. So in a nutshell, self-talk is what you say when you talk to yourself. And remember, whether you're thinking or whether you're speaking, those inner dialogues, those are your self-talk.
Wow. I'm glad you explained the thought aspect of self-talk, because many a times persons would think that self-talk is only what you speak out of your mouth. But Dr. Ian, you just said the thought is also a part of self-talk.
Yes, yes. And I also want you and all of us to know this is extremely critical. You know, when we think about a thought, if we were to, you know what, Dr. Janice, for anyone here, if you are inclined to tell us quickly, if you can open your mic, just tell us, what do you think is a thought, or what you think a thought is? Anyone quickly, tell us your definition of what a thought is. I encourage any of you very quickly to do that. And remember, this is an extremely safe, wholesome, non-threatening environment. Anyone, what is a thought? So I'll let you know what a thought is. So sometimes when we think about a thought, we are just thinking about a thought. We just think that a thought is a woo, is just an imaginary experience that causes things to happen in our life. But what are thoughts? Thoughts are actually things. You know, like how your phone is a thing, and I know all of you, you are armed with your cell phones. Thoughts are things, but just not things. What are thoughts? Thoughts are chemicals Yes, you heard me correctly. Brain chemicals. Thoughts are chemicals. That's number one. Number two, thoughts are electrical impulses. And number three, thoughts are neurons. So there is a tangible reality to what your thoughts are. And through what we call the functional MRI, you know, when you're doing your brain scan, you go into the MRI. There is the functional MRI. And through that functional MRI, and they give persons thoughts to think through those neural pathways and the electrical components, they are actually able to measure our thoughts. And they have done numerous studies with monks and those meditating persons in a meditative state. And through those scientific research, they can actually measure your brain waves and your brain patterns. So thoughts aren't just a woo-woo or just a fluffy entity, but thoughts are actually chemicals, electrical impulses, and neurons. So there is a tangible reality to thoughts. And remember, I said this yesterday, and how do we know this? We know this because we are told in the field of behavioral science that when a person is embarrassed, and how are you embarrassed? You are embarrassed by experiencing an embarrassing situation or someone releasing words onto you that are embarrassing. So when we are embarrassed by an experience or by words, guess what happens? It creates a negative physiological response in our body. And one of the biggest, I would say, lies, this word lie can sound a bit off, but sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never harm me. We know that's the biggest untruth that we've ever heard. Many persons have been injured, damaged, embarrassed, belittled by words. Sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never harm you. But for all of us here, we know that we were already embarrassed by words. However, it was Eleanor Roosevelt who said, and she said this, that no one can make you happy without your permission. So what are thoughts? Thoughts are things, chemicals, electrical impulses, and neurons.
Wow. Thoughts are things. You better make a note of that. And I just want to pause that if you came into the room after we started, we are actually concluding the matter of empowering your life through self-talk. And we're talking with Dr. Ian Levine, the conversation we started last week. But Dr. Levine, as you talked a minute ago, I have often heard people say, well, it's just a thought. So they don't place any emphasis on a thought. But others would say that a thought is closely connected to action. What would you say is the correlation between a thought and action? And how is it not a good thing just to say it's just a thought?
We know, as you said, it's just not a thought, because every action we have is as a result of our thoughts. And I don't think I would want to elaborate any more on that. We know that from the process, just from the simple process of life, that every action we take is as a result of our thoughts. So yes, there is a strong correlation between our thoughts and our actions. You know, we have thoughts and our beliefs and our habits and our actions. So what we think, actually what we think, we will take action, or what we think, we will take no action. So there's a correlation. Our actions, all our actions are as a result of our thoughts, our thought process. So definitely there is a strong connection between our thoughts and our actions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Levine. Ladies and gentlemen, please ensure that you use up the chat to place your comments and your questions, because tonight we will be making sure that we leave more time for the audience to interact and ask their last set of questions and make their comments to Dr. Ian. So please go ahead and drop those in the chat as we go along. Dr. Ian, I want to kind of talk a little bit about this thing about a law of attraction that we hear, you know, people talk about a lot. And I picked up a quote from Confucius, and he said, "He more man meditates upon good thoughts, the better will be his world and the world at large." How connected is self-talk with meditation, and by extension, the law of attraction?
Absolutely. I love that. I love that question. And when we speak about self-talk and when we speak about the law of attraction, once again, these aren't just buzzwords that are being used, but more specifically, when we speak about the law of attraction, there is actually neuroscience to the law of attraction. For when we focus, remember last week I said that every message which we receive is, and that message is programmed in our mind, and however, the strongest and most frequent messages are actually hardwired in our brains. And remember, last week I also mentioned that our brain needs specific information, that we have to give our brain a specific direction, a specific thought, a specific word. We have to be direct with our brain. And this is what happens within the realm of the law of attraction. And I don't want to go too heavy into this, but there's a part of our brain known as the reticular activating system, the RAS. The reticular activating system, the reticular activating system is like the gatekeeper for the brain. The reticular activating system acts as your PA, you know, your personal assistant or your secretary. So, you know, your personal assistant, he or she has your diary, your schedule, and they're determined, okay, Ian Levine, I want to see the CEO. No, he's unavailable today. You can see him tomorrow. The PA, the personal assistant, your secretary, your administrative assistant, he or she manages your diary. So that person is the gatekeeper. They know when you're free and they know when you're not free. So this is what happens with the law of attraction, and this is what happens in the brain with what I just referred to as the reticular activating system. And I give you a perfect example to make this a bit more easier for us. So let's say that you want to buy a car. Scenario. Let's say that you want to buy a car, and I just call some names just to make this a bit more interactive. Or Joan, or Alice, or Faith, or Williams. Let's say that or Daniel M. Let's say that you want to buy a car. This is what happens. So you want to buy a car, you go to the car dealership, you drive that right car. Listen, watch this carefully. You love this particular brand, you love this particular color, you drive that car, you're satisfied, you say to the sales agent, I'll be back in the next couple of days, next couple of weeks to purchase my car. What happens when you leave that car dealership? All of a sudden, you begin to see similar cars driving on the road. And I know it has happened to all of you or most of you before. You begin to see similar cars to the car that you were just test driving. Not just similar cars, but the same color, the same make, and the same brand. And you're wondering what has happened. Those cars were there all along, traveling the highways and the byways all along. But because your brain is now focused on that particular car, your reticular activating system just opens up that window to you, that you become more aware that those cars are there. And I give you even a more specific example. A couple of weeks ago, myself and my 3 daughters and a friend, we were driving and we saw a white Audi vehicle. And I said to my daughters, and we have this little bet, you know, I bet you that by the time we get to your dance rehearsal, we are going to see these cars. And as we say, lo and behold, this is real. By within 3 minutes, I kid you not, we saw the white Audi, and I'm not using Audi just to make this a marketing. I don't work for Audi, by the way, but we saw a white one, and within a space of 10 minutes or 7 minutes, we saw a couple of those cars. And when I dropped my daughter off on my way back home, I saw more of the similar vehicles. And that is exactly what happens with the law of attraction. And that is exactly what happens in our brain, that what we focus on, it's just not a myth, it's just not a woo, it's just not wishful thinking. That person say, oh, you're just thinking, and you know, it's just by luck. It's not by luck. It's actually your brain, the reticular activating system in your brain, bring into your experience that which you focus on. So the law of attraction, you are focusing on goals, on dreams, or whatever you're focusing on. Your brain, the reticular activating system, begins to work and begins to find the right person, the right places, the right resources, the right situations, the right solutions to bring your goals and your dreams into reality. There is great neuroscience into this. There's great neuroscience, brain science into the law of attraction. And for any skeptics out there relative to the law of attraction, yes, the law of attraction, it works, and it has the capacity and the ability to work in your life. And this isn't just stuff that I'm saying, that I'm just regurgitating. This is stuff that I have also practiced, and that I practice every single day in my life. I practice it. My wife, she does it, and my 3 daughters, we are all engaged in self-taught. We are all engaged in neuroscience, and we understand that what we believe and what we hope for and what we dream about will become a reality. And not to prep anyone too much, it might not become a reality today or tomorrow or next week, but once you give your brain those specific informations with thoughts, feelings, emotions, intentionality, you're being intentional about your goals and your dreams and aspirations, it will become a reality. And we've heard so many stories globally about persons using these techniques and really reaping the tangible benefits of believing and receiving.
Oh my. I mean, I am like literally just taking that in, Dr. Ian, because that indeed that you just gave, that 1 minute there, 2 minutes there, is powerful, because this is actually faith in action.
Yes.
This is actually faith in action. So we recite the scripture, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. But we just leave and we do nothing with that faith.
Absolutely. And before you go, remember, I heard a story relative to Walt Disney, you know, Disney World, Walt Disney. And I heard this story that his brother was being interviewed, and the interviewer said to him, how do you feel that you know, this is a reality, Walt Disney is a reality, or Disney World is a reality, and your brother isn't here to experience this. Your brother isn't alive to see this. And his brother simply say, you know what? Why this is here? It's simply here. Disney World is here because my brother saw it. He saw it. He saw it.
And you are so correct. If many of us can attest to that, I am a testimony to that. Even the very spot I'm sitting down here today, it's manifestation through telling myself that it would happen and believe it. And everything just came together, Dr. Ian. So
Absolutely.
we have to have that faith. You see, sometimes we hear words, Dr. Ian, and law of attraction and manifestation, and we put them out of our vocabulary because they doesn't sound like a church word.
Correct.
And we put them out and we lock the door against them. But these are literally faith in action.
Yes. And there is science behind this. There is neuroscience behind this. So as you say, Dr. Janice, for any of you listening and watching and you think, well, you know what? I'm not going to use these law of attraction or manifestation because of whatever reason, because of they don't sound Christian enough or religious enough or whatever enough. I want to assure you that there is science, there is actual neuroscience behind self-taught, behind empowerment